next speaker, Chris did a great job of giving a little preview. When I thought about the tone that I wanted to set for Small Business Development Day, I think about where we persevered with grit, and I think about who I call when I need to be motivated a little bit more, and that is my good friend and colleague, Thayne Parkinson. He's a vice president and admin manager for the Orange County market. He's perhaps one of the most inspirational people I know, with 15 years of banking experience here specifically in California, and I am thrilled to introduce him as a way to motivate us and set the tone for the wonderful agenda we have today. Thayne?
I'm debating whether to get on the stage or not, and I like to pace around, so I'm not going to do that. So good morning. I'm really, really grateful to be here and really happy to be amongst some of the best in Orange County. And what Chris mentioned and talked about is I'm truly humbled for everything that each of you have done to really keep our community here in Orange County specifically alive and going during what I would consider to be the most difficult business climate that we have experienced. So thank you very much and congratulations for what you do. In my pocket and now in my hand, I have a gift card. And this is a gift card to one of the most famous coffee shops that exists. And what I want to know is who wants it. Okay, see a few hands. I want to know who wants it. Congratulations. He has seen this trick before. All right, no, great, thank you for that. So, that was an example of action, okay? So today, many of you are giving up your time to be here, okay? Your employees are missing you, your customers are missing you, and you've essentially set some important day-to-day things that you do in your business to be here today. And that's where action, what you take and what you learn today is going to be imperative in what you do. So I am the father of 4 children. I know what you're all thinking. I do look pretty good and I've got amazing skin for that. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. I want to share a story. I was with my 2 oldest daughters. I work at a bank, okay? They always want to come to work with dad, see what work is. At the bank, we kind of frown on bringing your kids to work. I don't know why, but we do. Might have to do with the vault and the money that's there. But there was a particular situation where I needed to go into work. It was an emergency. It was my day off, and I had my 2 oldest daughters. So their grandest wish came true, and that was to come into work with dad. I was there for a couple of hours, and I was able to correct or fix the issue that arose. And as we got into the car to leave, some of the first words they uttered were, "Wow, Dad, your job is boring." And so I'm having some, oh, there we go. So yes, and thank you, Seth, for bringing that to my attention. So my goal today is, and as I was talking to Lindsay about some things, is I vowed, and no disrespect to the banking panel, but I vowed to not talk about banking today. So instead, you're going to hear some life lessons that I've learned over the last several years that have had an impact to me in my greater life and certainly in my business life. So we're going to be talking about a cow. This is something that I learned from marketing guru Seth Godin, but not just any cow, and we'll get into that in a minute. I'm going to share with you a story of a razor. I will talk to you about a story of an indoor playground and this little girl. But before we do that, we need to talk about sliced bread, okay? So sliced bread, we know this as one of the greatest inventions to be there, and it was invented in 1912. The interesting thing about sliced bread is that for the first 15 years, nobody knew about it, nobody cared about it. And that was because Otto Roeder, who was the inventor of the sliced bread machine, was so focused on the technology so focused on the patent that it wasn't until Wonder came along and was able to get that idea to spread. And so we see, when I think of this concept of how things spread, I go to my childhood. Can anyone tell me who this is? Tony the Tiger. And what does Tony the Tiger say? Okay, I give you about a 5. What does Tony the Tiger say?
They're great.
All right, that's right. He said, they're great. And how do we know this? Is it because we saw it when we were walking through the grocery store on a box? No. We saw it because TV dominated us at this point in time, and I would speak specifically for me in growing up. We learned this through TV, okay? An effective way to market. How about this? Alka-Seltzer? Yeah, I heard it a few times. And what's the jingle? Okay, yeah. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. Great. Same way. We learn this and we know this through what TV brought to us. But I would challenge your mindset and think of the last time you watched TV, if you could clearly explain to me any of the commercials that you saw. I want you to think of the last time you saw a Lyft or Uber commercial. Again, I don't watch a ton of TV. I'm seeing a lot of head shakes. I have not seen an Uber or Lyft commercial. And we came to know of these companies how? Because a friend or family member that we were standing next to picked up their phone, pushed a button on their phone, and a car magically showed up to pick us up to take us to our destination. And so when we live in this world, right, where we have so many decisions to make, okay, and this is what this chart will show. This is a line showing we have so many decisions to make and decreasing time, the natural thing for us to do is ignore things. And so what marketing guru Seth Godin talks about is this parable. This is our country road. I want you to imagine us driving down a country road and we will see a cow. Okay? We'll see multiple cows, but we aren't going to do anything. Why? Because the cow is boring, right? We've seen a cow before. It's invisible. It doesn't attract our attention. But if we're driving along and we see a purple cow, whoa, stop the car. There's a purple cow. Because why? That purple cow is remarkable. And in this day and age, what do we do when we see that purple cow? We're going to pull off to the side of the road, we're going to pull out our phones, and we're going to take a picture, right? And just like we do in this day and age, that picture stays safely in our camera roll, never for anyone to see it again, right? No, right? We will likely take the phone. It will be faced like this, and if you're like my 15-year-old daughter, it'll look something like this, okay? And immediately that picture makes it to social media. And then everyone else sees it and says, oh my gosh, there's this purple cow. I have to go see it too. And now our social media feeds are flooded with people taking a picture with the purple cow. And this is the challenge that we all face. And when we think of innovation and when we think of disruption, especially as business owners, just like Otto did with the sliced bread, we have the tendency to think of doing something totally revolutionary, where what we need to do is learn the story of the razor, the simple technology of a razor that when you look at companies like Schick and Gillette, who spent billions of dollars in R&D in order to see how truly close of a shave we can get to our skin, we have a company, the Dollar Shave Club, that has innovated to the customer outcome. They are less concerned about spending their billions of dollars that Schick and Gillette have already done, where they essentially argue about which razor is better It has 3 blades, it has 5 blades, it has 20 blades, to where maybe the customer doesn't necessarily care about how many blades are, but rather they're just passionate about grooming. And so they create a club. They create a community where they're able to save on so much money in R&D, and they build it around customer outcome, talking about what matters to people. Articles such as what to do if your partner isn't enjoying your new winter beard. And that is the foundation of what it is on. So however we define customers or what that looks like, don't let your innovation be limited to the thought of something that has to be revolutionary, but rather something that is focused in customer outcome. Indoor playground. Does anyone know what they make these of? So I thought it was some type of hard plastic in the past. But I learned recently that it's made of hatred. These things are horrible, okay? So this leads me to a personal story. I was out on a daddy-daughter date with my daughter. This was several years ago. And I asked her, like a generous father would, where would you like to go? She replied, McDonald's. And she didn't want the food at McDonald's. She wanted to go to the playground. So I thought, it's been a long day today. I'll go to the McDonald's playground. I'll find a table. I'll be able to indulge in some sports center or looking at whatever mindless thing that I can while she's off playing with little kids. Well, would you believe it? We showed up at McDonald's. No one was at the playground. So I found myself in this situation, well, I can just sit here and smile and laugh with her while she's running around, but I need to take a break. I need to sit down and just chill out. Within seconds, I'm getting smacked on the shoulder, and I hear, tag, you're it, and she goes running off. So that left me in a situation where I had essentially 2 things I could do. I could sit there and continue to look at ESPN, or I could jump up and chase after her. Well, I opted for the first decision. No, I'm kidding. I had to jump up, right? I had to chase her. There was no one else there. So she zooms up through this tunnel, and I'm starting to get up slowly, right? My back hurts, but I'm moving over there. And I find my way into this tunnel, and I see her getting to the top of the playground. And so I'm like, oh man, okay, here I go. So I start crawling up there, and my knees are hurting. This is the hatred I'm talking about. My knees are hurting. I'm having to climb even further. By the way, I don't fit really well in these things. I don't think they're made for people my size. So I'm even trying to turn around. I can't hardly move. Start breaking a sweat because I'm out of shape. And quite frankly, I'm humiliated, right? I make it to the top, wiping my sweat. I'm not feeling too good about life. I'm not having much fun. I see my daughter slide out of the end of that slide. And I watch her as she looks to the left and as she looks to the right, she's got this smile, okay? And in that moment, everything kind of changes for me. Because my customer, however we define it at that time, I see that although I'm uncomfortable, although I'm doing something that I didn't really feel like I wanted to do, when I saw her smile, that was the moment that mattered to me. And so it is for us, right? And it makes me think of this parable, and many of you have probably heard this, with a young boy that's on the beach as the tide is going low and there's starfish all over the beach. And he's out there throwing these starfish back into the water. And an older, wiser man sees him thinking, there is no way he's going to be getting to all of these starfish. And so he goes over and he approaches the young boy and he says, there are thousands of starfish out here. You will never be able to get them all back into the water. And at that moment, the young boy reaches down and he grabs another starfish and he throws it back into the water and he says, but I made a difference to that one. And so it is for us as well. Sometimes we need to refocus on what we are doing and who it matters for. It's that customer outcome. And so I ask that you take this challenge and that you join me as we look to make our communities better, as we look to build ourselves to be better, that we think different, that we be different, and that we make a difference. Thank you.